Did you know that over 80% of adults in the United States and the UK consume caffeine every single day, making it the most widely used psychoactive substance on the planet? In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to reveal something that medical professionals and toxicologists have been warning us about for years. The fine line between a morning energy boost and a life-threatening caffeine overdose. Whether you're a student pulling an all-nighter with energy drinks, a fitness enthusiast using high-stimulant pre-workouts, or simply someone who can't start their day without 3 cups of coffee, this information could quite literally save your life. Today, we're diving deep into the science of caffeine toxicity using the latest research from the Mayo Clinic, the National Institutes of Health, and the European Food Safety Authority. Before we begin, if you find this information helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for weekly science-based content on health and wellness. And remember, this video is for educational purposes only. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, please call emergency services immediately. In this video, you're going to discover: first, we'll explore what caffeine actually is and why it's technically classified as a drug. Second, I'll break down the precise biological mechanism of how it hijacks your nervous system. Third, we'll examine the specific dosage levels where coffee becomes dangerous and the symptoms of an overdose. And finally, I'll share actionable steps for recovery and how to reset your caffeine tolerance safely. Now, before we dive in, let me give you some context. Caffeine affects approximately 90% of the North American population, and in the UK, the average person consumes about 121 liters of coffee per year. You might be watching this because you've noticed your heart racing after an extra espresso, you're concerned about your teenager's energy drink habit, or you're simply curious about the limits of your own body. Whatever brought you here, you're in the right place because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Some believe caffeine is completely harmless because it's natural, while others think even a small amount is toxic. Today, we're cutting through the noise. So let's start with the basics. Caffeine is a naturally occurring alkaloid found in the seeds, fruits, and leaves of over 60 plants, and it belongs to a class of drugs called stimulants, which means it increases activity in the central nervous system. Interestingly, caffeine has been consumed for over 1,000 years. Originally discovered in Ethiopia, when goat herders noticed their flock became energetic after eating certain berries. But things changed dramatically in the modern era with the invention of concentrated synthetic caffeine and high-powered energy supplements. When caffeine enters your body, it acts as an adenosine receptor antagonist. Let me break this down further. In your brain, caffeine mimics a molecule called adenosine. Think of adenosine as your brain's sleepiness chemical that builds up throughout the day to tell you it's time to rest. But because caffeine has a similar structure, it plugs into the receptors meant for adenosine, effectively blocking the sleep signal. Your brain doesn't realize it's tired, and instead, it triggers the pituitary gland to release adrenaline, flooding your system with fight or flight hormones. In your body, the heart responds by increasing its rate, and your kidneys experience a diuretic effect, which explains why users report increased focus alongside frequent bathroom trips. But this is where the danger begins. Within 45 minutes, 99% of the caffeine is absorbed, and its half-life can range from 5 to 6 hours, meaning that extra cup at 4 p.m. is still half active in your blood at 10 p.m. This progression gets serious when use becomes excessive. According to the FDA, 400 milligrams, about 4 cups of brewed coffee, is a safe upper limit for healthy adults, but a study published in the Journal of Caffeine Research found that consuming more than 1,000 milligrams can lead to significant toxic effects. Here is a timeline of how a caffeine overdose affects you. In the first hour of excessive intake, your body enters a state of hyperarousal where your blood pressure spikes and your pulse becomes irregular. By 3 hours later, if the dose was extreme, You may experience caffeine jitters escalating into muscle tremors or even caffeine-induced anxiety disorder. Chronic long-term use leads to adrenal fatigue and bone density loss, and in cases of extreme concentrated powder intake, the damage can include permanent heart arrhythmia. The reason caffeine is so addictive is that it hijacks your reward system. While a natural reward like eating a good meal releases a controlled amount of dopamine, caffeine artificially stimulates that release, leading your brain to eventually say caffeine equals survival. After repeated use, your brain adapts by creating even more adenosine receptors to fight back, which is called tolerance. Now you need caffeine just to feel normal, and without it, you experience throbbing headaches and irritability. To put this in perspective, while a standard cup of coffee is 95 milligrams, some pre-workout powders contain 400 milligrams in a single scoop. That is like drinking 4 coffees in 10 seconds, which no natural biological system is designed to handle. Research shows several risk factors. If you have a family history of heart conditions, your risk of a fatal reaction increases by 50%, and those who start high caffeine habits in their teens are more likely to develop permanent sleep architecture changes. Let's talk about the physical health consequences of an actual overdose. It causes severe tachycardia, where the heart beats so fast it cannot effectively pump blood. Liver and kidneys are stressed as they struggle to filter the toxic load. And in severe cases, rhabdomyolysis, a breakdown of muscle tissue, occurs in approximately 5% of clinical overdose cases. MRI studies reveal that chronic excessive use can even reduce blood flow to the brain by 27%. Beyond health, caffeine addiction affects your finances and career. The average coffee addict spends over $2,000 a year on their habit. Perhaps most tragically, it steals your natural ability to regulate energy. Caffeine overdose kills several people every year, often due to pure caffeine powder, where a single teaspoon is equivalent to 28 cups of coffee. Warning signs include vomiting, hallucinations, and chest pain. If you see these, call emergency services immediately. Now, I know this sounds heavy, but recovery is possible. For caffeine, medical supervision is rarely needed unless the dose was massive, but behavioral changes are essential. The gold standard includes cognitive behavioral therapy to manage the triggers that make you reach for that 5th cup. If you're not addicted but concerned, start by setting a caffeine cutoff time of 2 p.m., identify the stress triggers that lead to use, and build alternatives like herbal teas or cold water splashes for natural alertness. Let's recap. 1. Caffeine is a drug that blocks sleep signals. 2. 400 milligrams is your safe daily limit. 3. Overdose can cause heart and kidney failure. 4. Pure powder is the most dangerous form. And 5. Your brain can heal and reset its tolerance in about 2 to 3 weeks of gradual tapering. Reaching out for help or deciding to cut back is not weakness. It's taking control of your biology. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up to help spread this warning to others. Subscribe for weekly evidence-based content. And here's a question for you. How many milligrams of caffeine do you think you consume in a day? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, all the resources and studies I mentioned are linked in the description. Thank you for watching. Recovery is possible, and you matter. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. If you have any personal experiences with caffeine or have any questions about today's topic, please share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. Thank you for watching.